Welcome. Good morning. I guess good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to the kickoff of the BRIM training, which is fantastic. I'd like to acknowledge Sweeto and Jessica for organizing this. This is a great opportunity for our partners to uh, get a view of, what the BRIM solution looks like, and maybe put that as one of your adoption for your practice if you don't already have one. Some of you may this might be a review, which is fine. You could either continue listening, or you could just go wait till the topic comes up in the in-depth session. But what I want to go over today is really at a high-level overview of what the BRIM solution is and some of the use cases and deployment options. So just quickly, we're going to go over the market positioning, which is very simple. I mean, I cut out a lot of the marketing type of topics, but really focus on what's really important. Solution introduction, the on-prem or private cloud edition, deployment option, customer use case. And as part of the additional BRIM topics that falls under the umbrella of our quote to cash, there are 3 additional solutions that is public cloud. That's not part of on-prem or PCE. We're going to have some of our subject matter expert present those topics because I noticed that it wasn't part of your BRIM training, which is already extensive. So with that, it's very simple. The BRIM solution, as you may or may not know it, is really catered, or we're trying to go after everything as a service. Not just selling one-time sales or a subscription to a service like media, like Netflix, or even mobile phone or mobility type of products. We are just looking at, hey, what can we have as a product that our customer cannot outgrow? Meaning, if you look at a lot of the different industries, we have utilities company buying telecommunication companies. We even have banks buying telecommunication companies. What that means is a lot of these industries are merging through acquisition, or through synergies, or even providing a better value. And what we want to do, or we want to achieve, is to have a solution that they cannot outgrow. So no matter if they're selling either pay per use or pay as you drive for insurance, or even pay by the drink, pay by the minute, pay by the hour, pay by the cubic feet, whatever that may be, we want to make sure that we can accommodate. Some quick challenges around the monetization for X as a service, X as anything. Solution focus, understanding fulfilling requirements, and very complex when you have physical goods and services. Enterprise B2B coverage, when you get into business to business, very complex. Pricing flexibility, you have to be completely flexible in terms of how you bill and when you or how you collect. Postpaid, prepaid, etc., real-time, event-based, all of the different type of permutation we have to make sure we cover. Performance and scalability. Yes, it's great that I can show it in a demo for a one-time complex scenario, but when you get into a production environment, does that scale? Does that, can it exceed the expectation? So a lot of the design has to be scalable. And of course, there's revenue share, meaning that how can you partner up with other industries or other services, other products to make a better value for your customer. So new business model agility, B2B, B2C, or B2B2C, whatever the case may be, you have to understand that I think if you look at the human nature, the B2B customers are really B2C customers. The complexity is really around the license and the sharing of different prices and the different contracts that are in place. But in terms of the flexibility, the different data models, and how and when, and in terms of collection, you really have to look at the Genesis, which is usually a B2C model. This is where all the buying and selling comes from. the BDB just provide complexity. So how can we accommodate that? First, before you even get into a quote to cash or order to cash scenarios, you have to understand where we are. A lot of colleagues or a lot of misinterpretation thinks that BRIM is a completely separate solution, similar to like Ariba or Concur. It's not true. You really have to put a foundation in place. But if you look at where we are in the office of the CFO, if you go from left to right, you have financial planning analysis. How do we touch that, right? There's budgeting, forecasting, of course, for order to cash. There's accounting involved in every transaction. There's finance operation, and this is where BRIM sit. We are basically order to cash or quote to cash, and it's really in finance operation. So if you're trying to find an opportunity and you go to a client, look for finance operation. I'm pretty sure that that's where the order to cash or quote to cash would sit. Now, in terms of the solution touching all the different pillars here, as you know, BRIM is order to cash, which means we take in cash, and it does payouts too. So we pay out cash, and that plays into the treasury, which is liquidity. And of course, you want to make sure you can forecast. You want to check the debt and 30, 60, 90. How can you forecast cash, and including payouts? So it's really tied together, treasury and BRIM or order to cash. There's also risk and compliance, and of course, there's cybersecurity. But the solution itself, it touches in all the different pillars. So when you present the solution, make sure that you cover or you listen to some of the pain points that the customer is trying to convey. It's not just order to cash; they have issues with parts of it, but it really touches a lot of different aspects of. Just went on its own in different areas of the office CFO. Oops. Okay. So just going from the chevron from top left to right, I'm just going to go over, and you guys will have a chance to really look in depth. There's a detailed training on each of these components, but I just want to give you an idea of what we cover in terms of BRIM. There's how do you manage subscription? So we have a product that's subscription order management and manage customer data, products, bundles, subscription orders, contracts, agreements, etc. And this is something that, of course, is the kickoff of the managing of subscription or one-time buys, services, etc. I think that's part of your training. That I think not the beginning, but maybe towards the middle of the training order. The next one is convergent mediation, but it's really about the collecting of the events and usage in the network. So if you can imagine, if you're providing services, you may have IoT devices, and they are giving a lot of different data. And the question is, when you collect all the different data, whether it's use or consumption, how do you guide those items or those events into a collector so that we could price and rate and charge it? It is a Solex product. It is from our partner Digital Root, but this is one of the key items in order to collect all their information and in order for you to really execute in a rating charging and then eventually to bill and settle. In addition to just doing mediation, of course, that term came from telco, if you think about ETO or transformation, but it also does a lot of different things, and I think that's part of your training also. It's really a key item in terms of interface. So the flexibility of this product, you can interface from cloud to on-prem, on-prem to cloud, or multi-cloud. So it's one of our kind of insurance policy. Whenever you get into a project, the most complex or the most budget depleting process is the integration. But with our partner Digital Root for mediation, it really solves a lot of that. So just keep that in mind. Convergent charging. Again, this is a acquisition product, but it was designed for telecommunications. So the complexity is there. It is Java based. It does a lot of different pricing, one-time recurring. Whether it's real time, it can do balance management. It can even do top up. So if you had a prepaid or prepaid mobile, this solution can enable that. Very powerful. It's not ABAP, so it's not traditional SAP, but it sits on its own. It's really real flexible, and it can scale tremendously. One of their big clients, of course, a lot of more telco, but in Verizon, one of our biggest wireless carrier, they are basically sitting out there in the network collecting every, all the consumption data for every customer and guiding it into a process. So this solution itself is integrated with that mediation solution, and it's been that way for a while before the acquisition. So very good, very excellent product. So mediation and convergent charging integrated, and it scales beyond. The next item is the invoicing. So once you have the order, once you have collected the information from the network, and then now that you price and charge, it create line items. So the line item has to sit somewhere, and we have an invoicing process. We call it converge invoicing because it can take invoicing line items from SAP and non-SAP solutions. So if you think about that, most companies have multiple billing environment, and they may want to decommission one, or they might want to merge a competitor or a third party charging engine. But we can collect it at a central point for convergence. A lot of uses, a lot of our customers basically start with this converge invoice. And last but not least, we call it customer financials management, or CFM. You may have heard that term. Really, this is the AR, AP collection, credit collection, and customer care portion of the solution. The origins of the adoption came from a lot of different telco. When we used to sell this product by itself, a lot of telecommunication companies decided that, hey, I have 15, 20 different billing environment, and I just have the same customer in all 15. So can I just create one single AR account instead of 15 to manage all the different collections in terms of pay, instead of a customer giving you a check and you're applying to one billing system, you can apply to one unified account, so that you will have a lower unapplied cash. You want to make sure that cash is directed to the customer account and not sitting in a bucket of unknown. This is part of your training. This is the bulk of it. If you can understand the customer financials management, this is kind of the foundation. You have to understand accounts receivable, a little bit of payable. You have to understand some accounting. There's dispute, promise to pay, write-offs. So a lot of flexibility, a very, very powerful solution. If you look at the process above, we kind of separate the different solutions. The top is cloud, and when we use the term cloud, we're talking about public cloud. So we have CPQ, we have commerce, we have the solution order that was recently available. We have subscription billing. Now, subscription billing is a little interesting. The actual term is kind of misleading. A lot of our customers look at that and they think it's a complete solution. But subscription billing is very similar to convergent charging. It's really generating line items and managing the subscription. But you generally need a invoicing or receivable solution at the tail end if you're doing postpaid. So even though it's called subscription billing, it's really generating billing line item. We also have mediation, that's pure cloud from Digital Root. We have a price calculation service. It's not beta now. I have to recheck that in terms of the availability. We have a cloud version of FICA, which is the financial accounting part of CFM, the ARP, and the invoicing. So we do have that available. It's not available in every region because of localization, but currently it is available in US and in Germany. And of course, the S4HANA Cloud. So the top portion here really is focused on public cloud type of solution. The one on the bottom is really our on-prem or private cloud solution. And they are very different. Again, you look at the design of subscription billing is one of the very first cloud native type of build that we have. So it's not ABAP based. It's very intuitive, very easy to learn, but very powerful. And we're investing a lot of money in that and enhancing it. It does integrate with sales billing or SD in the old days. And of course, we have the integration with CI FICA. We have an outcome-based business insight, or aka SAP OBB, and this basically provide insight and what if on outcome type of scenarios. So it gives the capability of really just doing models and, what if you change this, or what if the outcome or the revenue determination is a little bit different? How can we adjust, and how can we maybe provide a better offer in either the equipment or the service? So this is, this is something that maybe we need to put another enablement, a focus on OBB. So we can put that down, Jessica, on the next training. Now, you guys will spend more time in your exercise and your training in the subscription order management, but just kind of give you a highlight on what it is. Again, if you look at the old days of the CRM, what is the purpose of it? How can you look at product catalog, different type of orders, offers, how can you capture physical product, services, renewals, cancellations, and how does that interact with the rest of the solution downstream? We have a client, HPE, that talks about their success with using this product in the BRIM, the complete end-to-end BRIM solution. And so far, they're very happy. It's something that is critical in their project. Mediation from Digital Root, again, very one of the key things in terms of safeguarding projects. Not only does it collect everything from the network and then guiding it, transforming it for billing, but it also play a critical role in terms of integration. So for example, if you have a scenario, Salesforce integrated with SAP, integrated with Oracle, this solution can accommodate. So something beyond just mediation, but one of the key items to have on a project. There's a quote here from TELUS. Convergent charging, again, the original design was really catered towards semi-business and technical user. We try to create the possibility that instead of having some of our competitors, what they do is, for example, in telco, normally telco, when you do changes in terms of pricing or competitiveness, it takes a few months plus millions of dollars. Well, with this solution, it has the capability of drag and drop. So if you were to compete with a competitor and you want to launch new services with a different price overnight, you can do this quickly. One of our success here is a client in Canada, TELUS. So TELUS has an MDOCS end-to-end system. And if you understand the MDOCS, the value that they have, it's really the rating and charging piece is all custom. But because they are not as flexible and not as fast, and of course really expensive, TELUS chose to replace the rating engine with SAP Convergent Charging. So it's a really good story for us. Very flexible. Convergent invoicing, key here to think about is really whenever we walk into SAP customers or clients, there's usually more than one billing environment. So the question is, how can you solve instead of having a group or a team of resources doing electronic stapling, meaning doing offsite, consolidating all the different invoices and create a single invoice manually. How can we do this in an operational sense? We have stories from medical device companies. Through acquisition, they became 8 different companies, and they're sending 8 different bills to a health provider. And the health provider is complaining because they have to manage 8 different AP accounts. So the health provider basically tell them that if you don't solve this, if you don't help us with the improvements, I can go to one of your competitors. They just give me one invoice. So what we have provided is the capability of converging all these different billing environments. So to provide a single invoice and then to provide a single AR. A lot of our BRIM deployments really evolves around 2 things: convergent invoicing and customer financials management. Because the forward part of that, which is either custom rating and charging or homegrown, they don't really like to spend a lot of money revamping it. They want to keep it the way it is. So this invoicing provide that capability. Customer financials management. A lot of flexibility with just the standard consolidate AR, a single source of the truth for one customer. It's been around for a while. It sits in different. It's shared by utilities and other solution within SAP, but one of the cornerstone of our BRIM environment is really the FICA portion, or the customer financials management. Of course, it has collections, disputes, etc. But if you're, it's a lot to learn in terms of every pillar here. But if you can just pick one and focus on and be very diligent about learning, you can spend basically your whole career just learning this one module. It's constantly evolving. Entitlement management, something that was developed. This is a cloud. The other solution that we talked about was on-prem or private cloud. But this solution is a public cloud, and it was a joint effort between a lot of high-tech customers. And the thought is, how do you track entitlements? So entitlements are whether it's software or hardware. You may be entitled to free upgrades. You may be entitled to training. You may be entitled to tech support. Well, in most companies, this is just something that, we have products and there's warranties. Their customers are entitled to certain things. But if you don't track these entitlements, you could be basically losing revenue. Because if you think about it, training costs money. Having your tech support answering 40 calls from the same customer costs a lot of money. So if you start tracking it, and if the customer is only entitled to 10 and he's abusing it, you basically need to track that and make sure that either you built that into as part of the product, that they can buy more tech support or buy more training. But if you don't really micromanage that, it really impacts revenue. In addition, it also impacts revenue recognition. Because in revenue recognition, you may sell something for $20, but if there's so many defects and you're constantly helping customers solve these defects, if you don't track the dollar or the cost associated with it, you're really overstating revenue. So something that's up and coming, and the adoption, a lot of companies are realizing that this is key, that it is important. So just keep an eye on that, and keep open ears on companies that are struggling with keeping track of these incentives. We have Cash App for contract accounting, for machine learning. I mean, this is great. This is something that will help in terms of handling and sorting out the Cash App, because what we want at the end is really just the exceptions. We don't want to manage 90% hands-on and then 10% you know automated. We just want that backwards. One of the key things to talk about is really revenue accounting and reporting. So RevRec, it's free if you own the SAP solution, but it is something that we find key in terms of any discussion with the Office of CFO in order to cash. It's great that you can enable new business models, but it's critical that the solution itself can calculate the correct revenue and the correct timing of it. So if you look at the different accounting standards, IFRS 15 or ASC 606, those are some of the key things that are driven in terms of the development of this solution. And it's key that we make sure that we have this available for customers that are in this accounting type of compliance. We integrate to General Ledger and Central Finance. So again, this solution itself, it's not a BRIM solution that just sit by itself. It really have to sit on top of a foundation that have security, that has a shell accounting ledger. And of course, we integrate into Central Finance. So, every transaction has an accounting posting. You're going to learn that we use the main and sub transaction. The main transaction could be a debit, and the main and sub could be the credit of some type of transaction or some type of charge. So you learn that, which is critical because the days of just rounding up or rounding down, most companies are tracking pennies. So they want to know every penny, how it's handled, how it's posted, and how is revenue recognized based on the penny, because it adds up when you have trillions of penny transactions, right? Let's take a look at quickly some of the deployment options. First, I just want to say that the solution itself, in conjunction with sales billing or SD, is really the nirvana of billing for SAP. If you combine both, you have the selling of physical and services, and then also the billing for the different type of services. Service mean like the implementation costs or the installation costs. But in terms of other services, it could be subscription, it could be one time, it could be prepaid, postpaid, it could be all of it at the same time. But the combination of the two main billing systems that SAP has is really is something that most companies should not be able to outgrow. So that gives them the ability to sell physical and digital goods combined. And whether they acquire new companies or other industry type of outside of their main sweet spot, we should be able to accommodate. This is just kind of a view of why when you walk into any customer, especially large enterprise, and it could be medium, they always have multiple billing environments. So we break it down to something simple as a collection of events, which is mediation, a calculation, which is rating and charging, and invoicing, which is a one-time charge, a recurring, or a usage, and then AR. If you just keep it as simple as that, most companies, what they do is, at the end of the day, they just consolidate the AR. They just transfer posts from one AR and then to finance. So this is how they normally accommodate. But the issue is when you have the same customer in all four billing environment. So what what BRIM can do is really, first, we can launch new services if you wish, but you can also accommodate an existing service. We can still take those feeds from the different AR system. Again, this is just kind of a general ledger to general ledger post in S4 Finance. But what we also can do at the same time, offering new services on the bottom, is we can say, well, we can consolidate these three billing AR because these are a bundle that we sell. This could be mobile service, this could be data service, and this could be TV service. And then the third could be completely a different type of business. But what we could do is we could support a new business, but at the same time, we could basically consolidate or turn off the AR from these billing environments. Now, I mentioned earlier that a lot of customers, especially telecommunication, they do this. We do this for AT&T. So AT&T have many billing systems, but they utilize the BRIM Customer Financials Management, or the IRP engine, to do the consolidation, and then it feeds into Oracle. So this is one of their gateway to make sure that the revenue is tied completely, and there's drawback to a lot of the previous or a lot of the legacy billing environment. But this is a very nice solution for a lot of different telco or any company that has multiple billing environment. So this is one scenario that we can accommodate. And again, we could be launching new service, and we can consolidate different other different services through the consolidation of AR. Now, if the client is is looking for more customer sat, we can say, well, what we can also do is, in addition to launching new services here, we can consolidate invoicing. So here we have new services, end-to-end BRIM. We have invoice consolidation with these 3 products, and then we also have AR consolidation of these 4 products, and we can run this at the same time. There's another scenario that I talked about earlier of TELUS. TELUS says that, hey, we need a better rating engine that we could basically, rating charging engine, that we could quickly launch new service. So basically, we can have convergent charging here that's not even connected to any invoicing or a mediation solution or even SOM. It's really standalone by itself, and we can embed that into an existing billing environment. Of course, another possibility would be we use the convergent mediation to collapse the other legacy mediation. But what's great about this solution is you can run all of this at the same time. It doesn't have to be, you have to purchase 5 different instances, and they all sit in different instances. You basically can have the ability to run. Maybe this one might sit on a different box, or maybe not. But these can all sit in one landscape, and it can accommodate the different billing streams. Of course, we integrate from our general ledger to external general ledger using ALE, and this is what we do for AT&T because they run Oracle. Here's kind of a architectural view of how the data flow. We're gonna leave these PowerPoints with you so you can have a look at it in terms of the flow. But what I want to point out is that this is the S4HANA box. And all these items are already embedded. So it's a switch framework that, number one, there's contract account that's inside S4HANA, invoicing, billing, including the SOM, which is also inside. At one time, this was sitting outside of the, we call it the ECC or ERP environment, but now it's embedded. So it's all together. Which is fantastic. Now, if you look outside this solution here, we have charging, of course, is Java-based, and we also have subscription billing, which is a cloud-based solution, and it can integrate into this environment. And of course, there's entitlement management. So all these solutions really, they play nice together, but the BRIM core solution, except for convergent charging, resides within an S4 box. So meaning if a customer already has S4, they really just need license. And of course, they have to resize the box to accommodate BRIM. Here's just some customers that took the transformation journey. I talked about AT&T. Here we have Ascendi, Bosch, a big company using our BRIM solution. HPE, we talked a little bit about that. Microsoft, a big consumption of our solution, even though they're a software company. Signify, this is a SAP partner that we buy all of our goods and some software, but a lot of physical goods. They launch subscription billing with our SD or sales billing solution. If you look at the transit, we can accommodate that, global sat, and of course, any type of any cloud type of services, delivery or pay by the drink, pay by the use, we can accommodate. So we're very flexible. It's not just built for one industry. So with that, I don't know if Milan is online yet.
Yes, I am. December.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to hand this over to Milan. Again, I just want to touch on some of these cloud solutions, and then we're going to come back towards the end if there's any questions on anything that we presented. So I'm going to stop sharing, Milan. He's going to cover CPQ.
So thank you for having me today. Just want to walk you through and give you just a brief introduction to SAP CPQ tool, explain a little bit of our point of view, how does CPQ play a role into enterprise landscape, and then we'd like, if you have some time, to show you a little bit of CPQ in action, just a quick demo so you can actually see what the tool can do. Probably most of you have heard about CPQ, and CPQ has evolved over the years. Where originally it was really designed as a sales tool to help salespeople make sure they don't make mistake on selecting the right products, the right services, the right configuration, get the right price. CPQ over the years have really evolved in addressing many different things. So today, when we talk to our prospects and customers, they're really looking how to address missed revenue targets. So a couple of the pain points that you see here on screen is obviously time to onboard sales reps. None of us have luxury to spend weeks and months training sales rep. Tools have to be very easy to use and consume, enable time consuming to be removed, quick quotes, removing any errors, removing excessive discounting. Obviously, all of us are selling in multinational environments, so that requires multi-currency and multilingual solutions. And one of the key pain points that we hear from a lot of our customers is time to market. Our friends in marketing are coming up with this very innovative way how to sell and bundle our products and services. And the challenge becomes is now, once the marketing comes up with a new bundle, how to actually put it in the hands of the salespeople and partner to actually sell it. And traditionally, it would go to IT department, request a change, bring it in there next week or a month. And now with the CPQ, really enabling sales operations and sales teams, product teams to actually manage day-to-day operation and kind of drive those changes quickly to the market. So the paradigm of the CPQ functionality really has changed. Now, what is typical CPQ includes our SAP CPQ? Well, obviously, the very first component is configuration component, configuring product, services, bundles. So making sure that the sales rep, the partner, is actually selecting options of the products and services that can be built together, making sure that what's being selected is required, that the user actually has complete input before the product and prices is being selected. That also includes a lot of guided selling. That means I'm a rookie salesperson and I'm not really sure what product or services to offer to my customer, but I do understand customer needs. Customer told me what they're looking for. And now guided selling basically walk through user through answering the customer need questions and then recommends the product and services based on customer needs. So that's a very powerful way to make sales rep very powerful. Obviously, price. We all have different pricing models, different price for different geography, different price for different customers, customer-specific prices. So it's quite challenging for sales rep and partners to find the right price at the right time. So CPQ enables sales rep to always use the latest and the greatest price, the correct price for the geography, for the account, and so forth. Building quotes is not really just adding and building sales bomb. Building quotes is really more than just negotiating the price. Building quotes a lot of times today is upselling and cross-selling, making the... Sorry? So building quotes is also how to upsell and cross-sell, how to negotiate to get the right price the right time, so shortening the sales cycle. So that's quoting involves a lot of dynamics. And then creating customer-facing proposals, quotes, statement of works, contracts. What Gartner has been showing us for the last few years, at a time when we communicate our prices to the customer and the buyers, is really when we have the most of their attention. And typically that opportunity to engage and sell them on value is basically lost because most of our sales reps and partners will rush to the buyer and say, hey, Mr. Buyer, here's the 7 SKUs that you have to buy, and here's the price that you're asking for. Hopefully you can give me the PO, right? Well, generating content-rich proposal really helps the salesperson promote the value, and not just the product and price, but building a very content-rich proposal takes time, takes knowledge, taking a lot of things. So a lot of sales reps don't have discipline or time or access to all those great things. So that's where CPQ actually can assemble very quickly with a couple of clicks, something that's very content rich, something that's going to tell and explain to the customer why this product and services are good, why this product and prices are well, who else is using this, what is the benefits and risk if you do not use this product and services. So that communication enables to actually sell the value rather than just the price. Obviously negotiating, getting workflow approvals, and then obviously converting quotes to order, pushing the quotes and orders into the system. Today, there's really no enterprise level organization that doesn't need a CPQ. CPQ provides them with a faster way to come build the quotes, lower the risk, removing any errors, accelerate the revenue. It's a cloud-based mobile-first solution, leverage a lot of AI to recommend the price of products, faster go-to-market products, integrated analytics, and obviously better billing by integration with the BRIM, which we'll obviously talk a bit more today. Now, when we look at the role of the CPQ, from SAP point of view, CPQ is really a middle office tool that has to be sandwiched between the front office tool and the back end office tools, right? A lot of our competitors are building CPQ as extension of the CRM solution. We're actually, once opportunity gets to the sales stage where you have to start building the quotes, you actually involve the CPQ. Somewhat other competitors are actually building CPQ as an entry level for order for the back office. And both of those are correct. So that's why when we position our CPQ, we are saying, well, you definitely have to be fully connected, integrated to the front office. You have to be available as a standalone tool, but you also have to collect and consume data from the back office. So when a salesperson or the partner start the process into the CRM, and we integrate and have out-of-the-box integration to multiple different CRMs. Obviously, we have integration to C4C. We also have integration to Salesforce.com. Many of our customers are using Salesforce.com, and we should not shy away from opportunities for customers who are using Salesforce.com, but still use S4 and ACC as a back office. But when the opportunity gets to the point that's ready to quote, user is being sent into the CPQ, but all the data and intelligence that exists in opportunity, account, contacts, and other objects in CRM becomes available in CPQ. What product and services are available? What prices are available? What is the workflow you need to go through? All that's driven based on the data that comes from CRM. But also catalogs in CPQ is not something that just floats in the air and master in CPQ. Most of the time, the product master, the pricing master, material master comes from the back office. Subscription master, which we'll talk a little bit, also comes from back office. So in a CPQ, the sales rep is actually consuming data that comes from the back office. Also, the beauty of this is while you're in a CPQ, as you're building the quotes and doing these negotiations with your buyers, CPQ is continuously feeding data back into the CRM. So now opportunity becomes intelligent. Not only that you have the revenue amount and what you're hoping to sell there, you also have the product level data and service level data. So your forecasting and pipeline reporting can actually be much more intelligent rather than just saying, my Vest unit has X amount of dollars in the pipeline. You can also look at what product and services you have in the pipeline and what are the values and all of that. And then obviously, once the quote becomes an order, data that's being pushed from CPQ to back office ensure 100% accurate and error-free orders because the data that exists in CPQ is mastered in the back office. And that's the reason why this point of view that we have at SAP is so powerful, that you get into the position where, and you're looking data in the front office, where you're doing pipeline forecasting, it's the same data that exists in CPQ that's being generating customer-facing proposals. It's the same data that exists in the back office when you actually run all your finances and invoices. And when a customer receives the invoice, it's going to be the same data that was on a quote. So that becomes the beauty of this very linear system. Over the last couple of years, there was also a huge trend to consume some of the CPQ data into the commerce type of the self-servicing need. So in the B2B world, it's not necessarily going to the commerce to configure product and services, put them in the shopping cart and place an order with a credit card, but it's more as enabling potential buyers to understand more what kind of product and services you're offering. And the reason why this becomes important is in past, typically the company would actually have different tools for different channels. So they will build one type of quoting tool for direct sales, a bit different tool for the partners, and then third different tools that's been powering the commerce portals. Reality is, as organizations, you're selling same set of products, maybe different versions and different prices for different channels, but it's one catalog. And that is the power of our CPQ at SAP, that we really truly act as an omni-channel, supporting all those different consumptions and users. What is also part of our vision is powerful integration to the back office. And I just want to briefly summarize what kind of challenges typical SAP customer has. You probably heard a little bit from Rich about the BRIM, and the challenge is that everybody nowadays would love to have subscription billing. Everybody's looking at that forecastable revenue, understand when it's going to come and how much is going to come. And the BRIM becomes is a really great solution to define different subscription products, different rates, how to package them, and how to actually invoice them. But then the challenge becomes, okay, how I'm going to sell that in addition to what I'm currently selling, traditional product services. So typically what we're seeing in CPQ, a lot of our customers, they're selling what we call simple products. Products they have just a SKU, product number, description, but that's mastered in the back office. That's usually mastered in the material masters ERPs. But that data becomes part of the quotes. A lot of our customers are also using back office Variant Configurator. And Variant Configurator is a very powerful tool that creates manufacturing bill of materials, routings, costing, extremely powerful tool, but it's not a sales tool. It's very hard to be used by the sales rep, and definitely not easy to expose it to the partners, and definitely doesn't have the flashiness, the sexiness of the sales tool. So what we actually have done, position SAP CPQ to be able to consume all those different product masters. So out of the box, SAP CPQ integrated with the BRIM, integrate with the back office material masters in pricing conditions, integrate with the back office variant configurations. So our customers who have spent 10, 15 years building those very complex configuration models in the back office, or now setting up the different subscription billing tools in the BRIM, can actually all be consumed by CPQ without need to rebuild. So CPQ simply consume BRIM data, material master data, configuration data, and the result of that is very powerful. You get a bundled product in CPQ that actually can consist of a couple of configuration models from the VC, can have some simple products for material masters, can include BRIM subscription. And then you can also build sales rules on the top of that. And that's really where the power becomes. So you can say, well, if this customer is requesting this configuration model and configuration model number 2, and they're adding some simple products in here, we absolutely must have BRIM subscription. So now CPQ ensure that this configuration as a bundle is correct. And that becomes extremely, extremely powerful. Now, what does it mean for in the real world? And I don't want to bore you too much with technology, but obviously in the back office, everything starts with S/4HANA and BRIM. That's material masters. And there's those configuration knowledge bases that are being pushed to the cloud into the CPQ. And now in CPQ, we're actually combining all those different data, right? Configuration attributes, characteristics from the back office, simple products, some data from the BRIM. And what results here, what I'm showing here in the top right screen, this is a screenshot of the sales rep configuring a cloud storage service. Now, what is important and beauty of this elegance of the solution is that we're actually asking questions about contract durations and billing cycles, but the options in these drop downs are not something that administrator defines in CPQ. The value for contract durations and value for billing cycle comes from BRIM. They are mastered in BRIM. They're defined in BRIM. So the beauty of that is using CPQ selecting these values. Now, when this quote gets converted, it becomes an order, and this order gets into the BRIM. There is no discrepancy. The BRIM will understand, aha, I have a contract duration, and I know the values that I send there because I am the master view. And that is really the differentiator here, that what you define as a very complex subscription models in the BRIM are being consumed in a sales cycle by the CPQ. As a CPQ, we have been in the marketplace for almost 20 years, so we are extremely rich in capabilities and function and features, but we have a lot of business differentiator. Obviously, we are part of complete end-to-end sales cycle process. We have seamless integration to any CRM and most major ERP systems. Obviously, out-of-the-box integration to entire SAP portfolio that touched quoting systems, C4C, S4, ECC, Variant Configurator, BRIM. We have large enterprise customers in over 130 countries. We have scalable support teams and maintenance by business users. That's extremely important. I'll talk a little bit more about it. We also have a lot of functional differentiators. Just to name a few, performance. You will see that all the analysts who are following the space are extremely impressed by SAP CPQ performance. Why is this important? There's a lot of configurated tools, CPQ tools out there that can manage selling T-shirts, selling some simple stuff. But when you get in enterprise-grade products, where you actually have configurations in telco, when you have services from companies that are really huge, performance becomes important. When you have quotes that have hundreds and thousands of line items, you really cannot expect sales rep to sit here and wait for minutes to an hour to get configuration done. And the reason why we actually able to get such a great performance is we are actually built on a purposely built deck that's actually CPQ specific platform. So we are not built on a CRM platform. We are not built on an ERP platform. We are built on platform designed specifically for CPQ. Obviously, ease of use, intuitive guided selling, very flexible admin. We support different channels. We support margin protection and guardrails. We are platform agnostics with any CRM and ERP, and obviously best in breed solution. Business user administration is very important. As a CPQ tool is something that similar to BRIM, where you almost daily are making changes to your offerings, daily changing the rules on a prices, on discounting, on a sales cycle. Those changes have to be managed by the sales operation, by the sales team, by product team, not by IT. So that's the power of our tool that is designed to be done point and click, and it's designed to actually you don't have to do deployments of the code, you don't have to validate your code, you're actually configuring the forms in your browser. We have been continuously improving our position. This is the 2021 Gartner Magic Quadrant. As you can see, we have a position in the top right. What Gartner has identified as our strength comparing to others in this Magic Quadrant, that we are great for omni-channel, supporting companies who sell through different channels. Our product selection and configuration is great. As you can see here, they actually stated that condition rule engine is one of the most powerful and flexible that was valued by the Gartner, and then obviously integration with other SAP products. Sample our customers. We have a lot of customers, just to name a few, obviously Dell, Experian, Rockwell, Honeywell, ServiceNow, IBM. We are using SAP internally, CPQ for now 4 years. Entire global Salesforce using our CPQ as a part of the Harmony to build the quotes. Just to give you a taste of what our customers seeing this successfully, Atlas Copco is the manufacturer of the compressors out of the Belgium, and complexity of them is they're selling services and products combined in the same quote. They have service contracts, they have maintenance services, a lot of different things, and they have 52 billion possible unique combinations they're trying to quote. So it's extensive complexity on the products and the prices. And after they implemented our CPQ using us for over 10 years now, they actually support 26 brands. They support 53 currencies, 20 languages, 8 different integrations, and they build over 30,000 quotes per month in 72 countries. So that's the power of our CPQ, because we actually integrate through acquisitions. They have 3 different CRMs, they have 3 different ERPs, they have a lot of PLMs and business intelligence, but all this feeds into the CPQ. And that's where CPQ position as a middle office works really well for them. Now, in addition to automate this very complex process, one of the byproducts of running the CPQ is they were able to significantly screen down on their administration role. So they used to have over 70 full-time employees managing their quotation tools in the past. When they moved to SAP CPQ, they shrink down to 5. So as you can imagine, that huge saving, they're able to actually allocate resources to different tools. So we provide them a lot of valuable, powerful information. So we have a lot of ROIs. I'm not going to bore you with that, and I'll share this with you, the slides, so you can definitely have this with you and other success stories. What I really would like to do is to spend some time walking you through the tool, show you the tool in action, and then open for questions and answers. Any questions at this point?
Milan, there's actually a question in the chat. The question is, how CPQ is compared or positioned with respect to solution sales configurations or SSA and BRIM world?
Clear. So there's the difference between SSC and a CPQ is really quite significant. So SSC is designed to sit on the top of very configured models and to build the systems. So if I'm building I'm going to make this up Honeywell case, I'm building control for entire building, and each floor is one single configuration model. But then I have fire extinguisher, I have temperature controller, I have lighting controller. Each one of those controllers is a single variant configurations. SSC does great thing to combine them into a single system. The problem with the SSC is the SSC doesn't have the UI. It doesn't have the admin. It has to be managed by IT. So SSC handles extreme complexity of different variant configuring products. CPQ is a sales tool. CPQ is meant to be consumed coming from CRM or directly by distributors, but also not only configuring, but pricing, negotiating, having the workflow, and creating customer-facing documents, versus the SSC is focusing strictly on configuring extremely complex models which are bundled together, and then pricing and document generation doesn't even become part of the portfolio of SSC. One of the good news about SSC is there's actually, with this release, SAP CPQ and SSC are becoming integrated. So now the user who actually have SSC can access and consume some of those configurations from the CPQ. So that makes that offering even more powerful, that if there is true need for very highly complex systems to be configured, that SSC CPQ can be acting as a front end to help you actually have that really user-friendly front office, but also help you with negotiation of the price and document generation, which SSC does not have. And just in interest of time, I'm going to move on. If there are any other questions, please stop me, but I'll definitely be available for any follow-up on these questions. But I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch into my browser, and what I have done, I have logged in as a salesperson. So I can come from CRM, I can come from commerce, I can come directly in CPQ. In this example, I'm logging directly into the CPQ. So what we have is our user journey is very similar to Amazon, right? I look for my products, I find the product, add it to my shopping cart, and I do something with it, right? There are multiple ways to browse the product catalogs and service catalogs in CPQ. One traditional way is right the titles. I'm going to high tech, I'm going to look at the software, and I'm going to take a look at the bundles. And here are available bundles for my geography and my user profile. And I can go and configure some, right? That's one way to find that. On the left-hand side, we have this category 3, where I can jump quickly into bundles right away. So I can eliminate all those clicks. But also we have, on the right-hand side, we have this very powerful search functionality. So I can go in and search, and I can search by product or service name, by description, by price. And if I'm looking for a bundle, you can see CPQ can quickly show me every product in a catalog that has bundle. So idea is if I'm a rookie sales rep and I need some more information how to find a product, I can go and search for the products. But if I'm an experienced guy, I really don't need for all those flashy tools. I just need a quick way to find my product. Beauty is also that I, as a user, can control how data is presented to me. So now I switch from the tile view into the list view. So if I have a lot of products in my category and I don't care about images, but I'm really looking for names and descriptions and different types of data, I can actually quickly switch back and forth. The search functionality can be also bundled with name and description and part price and so forth. But the idea is to provide sales rep with a quick way to find the product. I'm going to go back in the product, and I want to show you another powerful feature, which I talked a little bit about in my presentation, which is the guided selling. So when I go into my software and I find bundles, I'm going to find here there are multiple bundles. And I know I'm talking to my customer, and they're looking for some kind of bundle, but I'm not really sure which of these bundle will do justice in what their needs are. So we have this guided selling functionality. And guided selling is really helping user answering a few questions, and based on those few questions, getting into the right products and solutions. Now, the beauty of the guided selling is you can have as many different guided selling modules throughout the system. So it doesn't have to have one that fits all of your categories. So I can have one guided selling for hardware, one for software, one for services, one can be for something else. So now when I'm getting these bundle guided selling, I'm asked a couple questions. So now as a sales rep, I'm saying, I'm trying to sell my customer a bundle that has a CPQ. I want to sell them something that has self-effectiveness, and my customer has 1,000 users. So based on those few selections, now the CPQ says, based on your customer needs, here are the two bundles that fit that need. But I'm still not sure what I want to select and offer my customers. What I can do, I can actually compare side-by-side products. So now as I'm comparing my products, I can actually display the attributes and characteristics of those products side by side. Obviously here, I don't have all the data, but you can see descriptions, comparison around them, and then I can decide which of them works better for me. Now, obviously, you don't have to use the bundle and guided selling, but it's available for users who need some little bit help finding the right products. So far, I've talked about a catalog and finding the product and services. Now what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to get into the product configurations. So now getting into the product configuration, I have a screen where I'm going to select options and features. Now, in this particular product configuration, I have the middle sections where I'm going to make some options. And on the right-hand side, I have what we call responder. Responder is going to continuously update with every click to make sure that it has summary of what is the total price, what I have selected so far. So this is very simple. And what we did here, because we're all selling software and services, we're going to have multiple tabs in this configuration. First, we're going to configure this bundle. Then we're going to have some add-ons. We're going to sell some services because the software has to be implemented. And then we're going to add some support and training. So as I'm starting here, I'm going to say, hey, is this a new renewal or upgrade? And I'll talk more about renewal and upgrades with part of the BRIM. But how many users my customer? I'm selling 1,000 seats for this particular bundle, and it's going to be a 3-year contract. And my starting date for my contract is going to be May 1st, and I'm going to select standard pricing. So as a result of this I kind of did too happy here. I have 1,000 users. As a result of those couple of selections, I just add a couple of values. CPQ calculated a lot of value discounts for me. And this is something very powerful in my negotiation with a customer. I can tell them, hey, you want to buy 1,000 licenses, that's fine. I'm going to offer you 50% discount. But if you decide to buy a little bit more users, they're going to bump you into the next tier, and it's going to provide you 20% discount. So that kind of information is now available to sales rep as you're talking to your buyers about how to position differently. We also talk about this is the list price. There's some total cost of ownership over the annually, over the 3 years, and so forth. So a lot of calculations being done on the fly for the users, right? Now, if I go to the next tab, we obviously want to upsell and cross-sell. Good sales reps will remember what else to offer with different products, but CPQ will actually help the sales rep always remember what to offer. We always want to offer some more sandboxes, right? So I'm going to offer 3 more sandboxes, and maybe I'm going to offer them Telco Pro product, right? So this gives me ability as I'm selling the bundle to customer to sell them on upsell and cross-sell. Now we get to services. Services is always painful to estimate. Now I have to go to my service partners or partner company and ask for services, but maybe we package something. So I have enterprise package, and what happened now? Enterprise package says, to implement this particular bundle, you will need this type of resources. But maybe my discovery with customer says I maybe need some extra architect, so I can actually manually select here if I have permissions to add 10 more days on the architect job, right? And please note that I didn't have to estimate this. I didn't have to look at the price. CPQ picked those right price for me. And then I'm going to get in support and training. So I'm going to select basic training. Now, what CPQ does, not only that calculates and select the required stuff, it also helped me upsell and cross-sell. So the message that I'm getting here has nothing to do with product bundle. It just tells me that, hey, you're trying to sell basic support, but if you upsell to premium, you will receive double support commission. So now, being a coin-operated sales rep, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to try to sell the premium. And as a result of that, premium support provides something else, and then that I'm guiding user how to make more money for themselves, right? Now I'm done with these configurations, and I'm going to add it to the quote, right? So when I'm adding this to the quote, what happens here, the reason why I want to walk you through this, I started with this bundle, and I can collapse this in my shopping cart. So I have a bundle, but I also added a sandbox, which is add-on service. I add Telco Pro, which is add-on service. I add some professional services. I added support and training. And why is this beautiful? This is beautiful because in a single configuration, on the same quote, I have product and services. They're priced differently, right? Sandbox is annual price. Telco Pro might be one-time price add-on. Services are per billable hours. I have one time for the training, and I have my bundle, which is recurring price. So now I went through very simple few steps of configuration and resulted in this very complex bundle that now I can negotiate and work with it. But this is my shopping cart. It acts a little busy, but I explain to you why it is busy and what kind of value it provides to B2B customers. Now, obviously, there's no limits of what I can sell. So I can go back to my catalog and quote something else. So we started by doing the software bundles. But just to give you an example, in the very same tools now, I might have configuration of products in different gears. So the very same tool, as you'll notice here, now I didn't go to different CPQ configurations. I want to expand the 3D product, and I want to sell some spare parts. As I'm selecting this, I'm making my bill of materials spare parts available. So those are all different products that are available in the same tool. So CPQ support a variety of different things. So I can go in automotive, the very same catalog. I'm not logging somewhere else. I have a truck, and then maybe I want to configure some trucks on the same tool. So I have a new truck. I'm gonna offer different configurations, and you can see here I have a lot of visual selections, but it's the same tool. I didn't went to different installations. I did not go to a different URL. It's the very same tool, and you will see that as I'm making some of these different selections, what's available is a models change as well. So the CPQ rules act immediately, and the sales rep, the user in the tool cannot make a mistake, right? Because everything I'm selecting here is based on what my previous selections are, right? But now, as you can see, I have totally different configuration of my truck and getting there. But just to illustrate to you that there's no limits what kind of product and services you can have. You can have medical products, you have telco products, you can have finance products. So idea is the same: provide and model product and services and put it in the product catalog. In the interest of time, I'm going to jump in my catalog, and I want to show you in my shopping cart, I have this bundle that I have built in here. And I can imagine I have only 6 items here, but this quote can have 1,000 items. And what it does is shows you what I have: the SKU, the part number, the quantity. I have non-recurring or one-time price, and I have recurring prices, depending what product you have selected. And now the reason why we have all these other columns, which are fully configurable, is enabling sales rep to negotiate a deal. Right. So this particular bundle is $13.50 per one. And let's say I would like to provide a discount of 5%. What happens? CPQ will go and say, aha, when you provide 5% discount, that's equate to $67,000. And now you have a new net price. Right. I can also do backwards. I would like, the customer tells me, Milan, I need to be at 1,100 here. So I can actually provide 1,100, and CPQ say, aha, in order to be at 1,100, you have to provide 18.52%. Right? So powerful way to go back and forth and play with this. You also have margin health indicators, where obviously I'm a sales rep. I cannot have access to my cost, but we are displaying to the sales rep what is the health of my margin, because CPQ understand the cost and calculate this margin. Now I can actually adjust my discount based on the margin. So I would like to be in green. Somebody in business decided that this is good business for me. So I'm going to provide maximum discount, but to be at a green. And we'll get into the green. So what happened now, I have a green for my discount, and that actually says 9.09% is the most. I can adjust individual price on every line item. I can actually group them, and I can display, maybe I would like to discount all professional services. So anything that's professional services, I want to provide 3%, right? And now CPQ, if you have 1,000 line items, we're going to find everything that's professional service, and it's going to apply 3% discount. Where this becomes powerful is a lot of time negotiations are done by the total quote. So in this example, I have a quote for 1.3 million, and customer is going to say, Milan, you know what? My total budget is 1.2 million. And that's where you have to be. Now, what happens for me, rather than trying to hit the number by adjusting a bunch of different line items, I'm going to enter this as my goal price. So now what CPQ said, okay, in order to be at 1.2 million, your overall discount has to be 20.5%. But different line items in my quote have different margin. So now CPQ intelligently displays and calculate how much discount I'm going to apply to different product in order to achieve optimal margin. So just think how powerful that is. It's not a peanut butter spread, which can be done. It's a setting selection, but now CPQ automatically decide how much of those discounts I'm going to apply, and then position them like that so I can achieve the target price. And obviously, because I'm now doing some really high discounting, this now has to go for the approval because I have exceeded discount. It tells me who needs to be approved. Approval process can be very, very complex, parallel, serial, multi-tier, and so forth. But now to go back and just move forward, I'm going to shift back and apply 5% discount. And you will see now everything is green. I don't need to provide any discount, but I'm going to also select customer info. Because I logged in directly into the CPQ, I'll have to select my partners here. But how I came from CRM, this information will be pre-populated for me, so I don't have to do any of that. So now I went through negotiation, I built my product and services, I get all the blessing and approval from the customers, and I'm sorry, internal from my finance and from my legals. Now I'm ready to create customer-facing documents, right? And this is where the power comes with a Q CPQ. So I'm going to create a document. And what happens is, because I'm a sales rep in Midwest, I actually have access to certain templates. And administrators fully control what templates are available. So I have a huge quote document, I have statement of work, I have proposal, quote, master service agreement. So different templates that can be created. I'm going to create a proposal. And now as a sales rep, I'm provided information, hey, what kind of sections would you like to include in proposal? So there's cover letter, executive summary, commercials, case studies. I'm selling for the first time to this company. I would like to tell them a little bit about us. I also would like to include product information. Now, just think about how powerful this is. I, as a sales rep, I'm saying I would like to include product information. I'm not saying what product information, I'm not saying what products. CPQ knows what product I have in my quote, and CPQ knows what's the latest and greatest product information for that, what I have in there, and all it's saying, I'm going to include that. I can say I want a discount or not, and then I can also replace certain part. If I would like to do my own cover letter, I don't want to use the canned cover letter that comes with the system, I can actually replace that, right? So I can download the cover letter, and I can replace it with my own Word document that I would like to put in there. Now, notice that not every section I can replace. So administrator decide, cover letter, executive summary, about us, you can replace, but commercials, not only you cannot replace, you can also cannot uncheck it. That's a mandatory section in the document, it has to be included, right? I can also decide that maybe for this customer, I'd like to impress them about us. So I'm going to make about us being the very first part of the section. So I'm just moving my sections up and down. Now, when I'm glad and happy with designing this, I can also add my own sections, but I want to create a PDF. So now watch, I'm just clicking create PDF. And what happens, CPQ now gathers all this data based on my configurations and creates a PDF document. That PDF document is going to have specific data on what I have in the system. I'm getting this little error because I did not come from CRM. So this is expecting update in CRM. But now I'm going to download the customer-facing document, right? Now, I hope you realize this took us 2 seconds to create this document, right? Now, look at the beauty and the power of this document. Well, first of all, I want to point out this document has 29 pages. So within 2 seconds, the CPQ assembled a 29-page document, right? And it knows that it's proposal for Acme. It knows it's created by me, right? Now, look at this beautiful table of content. Table of content is dynamically linked. It's not static page. It's basically based on the sections. And if you also remember, I decide I want about us to go before cover letter. So this is dynamically being created on the fly. So I have about us, right? But I did not have to find this document, adjust the font, put it in position. CPQ pulled the latest and the greatest section about us and put it in here, right? Now I'm going cover letter. So here's a cover letter addressing John Smith because that's my business partner. Tells Dear John, signed by me. I could replace that section, but it's including my email in there, includes my phone number and everything else. It's ready to go, right? I have executive summary, which I did not write. Here's why SAP is a good choice. Here's commercial details, right? I have the bundle, I have a sandbox, Telco Pro. So I'm giving the sales bill material to my customer with the prices and amounts in format that I choose to be displayed. There's product information. If you remember, I included a bundle that has configure, price, and quote. And all I said on my document creation is I wanted to create product info in there. And CPQ included product info with the latest data. Know that my bundle has CPQ in there. That's why it was included in here. Show some of the parameters, benefits, and values. So I'm selling on values. I'm not just pushing the price and the product to the customer. I have a lot of justifications, right? So it's a beautiful document. It has a lot of information in there. It has terms and conditions that are specific for my account. I did not have to go find out, do I have customer-specific terms and conditions? It's being pulled out based on my master. I also have some system architecture as appendixes, but I did not have to go fish for all of that. I did not have to create all of that. They actually CPQ build this for me. And that's the true power of this. That now, obviously, I'm going to send this to my customer. Customer is going to tell me that they would like to see some better price. I'll have to go change this. And customer is going to say, oh, now they have to recreate documents. Well, no, I don't. All I have to do is click again, make a revisions, and come back and build another quote. There's a document depository here. I can store any quotation-related documents here. This is a document that we just created, and I tracked it through my e-signature if actually was sent to customer, was reviewed by the customer, and any actions taken by the customer, right? Obviously, I can look at these are my previous quotes. I can copy my previous quotes. So if I have something that I'm quoting a lot, I can create a template and I can reuse it over and over. Or customer can call me and say, hey, Milan, the quote you gave me 6 months ago, I would like to take a look again at that. I can find a quote. I can then copy the quotes. So I have a quote number 06. All I'm going to do is just copy one. And I'm copying a quote. Now I have a new quote, 2007. And maybe I'm going to just change some little things here, change a customer or whatever, and go and work with this. So this was very fast, because I was trying to cover a lot of ground. But just to summarize, we went through product catalog, found the product and services. We actually configured a product, get the right price and products, put them in a shopping cart. In shopping cart, we were able to negotiate the price, apply the discounts, go with the net price, work with the margin held. We were able to distribute different discounts for different line items. And then we actually created customer-facing document, right? So that's really, in a nutshell, what a CPQ does. Obviously, as I'm working on this, all this data is being updated to CRM. I can actually place an order. So by placing an order, data is being created in a back office. So in a SAP S4 or ECC, I can create an order. And now in S4, I have an order. And then obviously the beauty of this is going to go to BRIM. And then if it's solution quote here, I'm going to have a hardware, a software, services on the same quote. It can be managed beautifully in the back office. And that's what becomes the beauty of the solution. So I'm going to stop walking through this demo because I really want to leave some time here for any questions and answers. So either unmute yourself or I can take a look at a chat, see what was.
So Milan, thank you for a beautiful presentation and a demo. I really like it. And there are some questions in the chat group, so I welcome you to help answer that. I think we are actually running a bit out of time as well. I think the next presenter is Share, right?
So if there's just a few questions, if not, Milan, we can take it afterwards. Do you see anything on the chat that's glaring that we missed?
Look for ideas around how SAP uses pricing details and show the subs. Yeah, we'll take a little bit more time. SAP uses for CAD models, 3D configuration. So for 3D and CAD, we use either our Visual Enterprise, which is non-enterprise product, or we have a number of partners. So we integrated a couple of the 3D and CAD model companies out there. CPQ will display ABC configuration options from some, not CC. That is correct. We use ABC configurations. How does CPQ works with the B2C online sales portal? So at this point, we have out-of-the-box integration with the SAP Commerce Cloud. So if the customer is using Commerce Cloud, they can consume CPQ, some functionality headlessly and just use it. Others are pushing data in CPQ, but at this point, that's only out of the box with the SAP Cloud, Commerce Cloud. For third party, common supporter tools, it's project work, but they have a library of the public APIs that you can consume and call into the system. But out of the box for SAP Commerce Cloud, we work as an integrated solution. Great. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me. I'll be glad to assist you with any opportunities that you have positioned with CPQ. If you have any question about product or need assistance with running the campaign, I'll be glad to assist you.
Thanks, Milan. Very sexy, cool stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Morning, everyone. My name is Wu Xue. I'm the technical product owner of SAP Entitlement Management. Today, I'm going to talk about first, why entitlement management is important, the involving business landscape challenges, and what business are looking for. And then I will give a brief product overview about SAP entitlement management and where it fits in the Q2C process. After that, there is a short live demo to show the detailed product features. And at last, I will give a brief introduction about the customer reference and some additional information in the appendix. So first, let's see why the entitlement management is important. One of the biggest trends we have been seeing nowadays is a shift from pure hardware to software inclusive model. Companies are interested in bundling and embedding software and service together with product to provide a more attractive offering to their customers. They embrace subscription-based model for a more sustainable and recurring revenue stream. Many also acquire software engineers or the whole software companies as they see software as the main differentiator to their product offerings. And since the success of subscription-based revenue model relies not only on the initial sale, but now most importantly, the ongoing relationship and the satisfaction of the customer, we see more focus on user-centric development, customer support, and the sales experience. Since the change is coming, so there also comes with challenges. While bundling hardware, software, and service can enable business to innovate with new business models and create new revenue streams, it does come with a set of new challenges that need to be considered. First, as go-to-market group and commercialized departments come with the new offering and models, companies are always struggling with the flexibility of their current technical system to quickly introduce this new offering to the market, as well as manage the customer's rights and usage associated with the offering. Secondly, software in a sense has also its own life cycle after the initial sales. Because you are selling the usage right rather than a product. For example, the licenses and other entitlements can be reassigned to different regions, and the license could be upgraded, swapped, and so on. Most traditional system is lack of the process to support such activities, not to mention the ability to keep in comprehensive historical records. Furthermore, subscription-based revenue model often rely on customer renewals. Not only the initial sales experience is important, but knowing what the customer is entitled to is the cornerstone of any customer interaction. And finally, eliminating revenue leakage due to unauthorized usage of your software subscription product bundle is key to the success of these models. That's why the enforcing compliance is also critical. And so let's see, what exactly are the entitlements? Entitlements are the rights awarded to a business partner at the time of establishing an agreement with your company. The rights could be to access a cloud service, to receive support, to claim warranty, or to run a license on a machine. And the business partners could be the business entity, the partner, or the consumer. The agreement could be the contract, sales order, MOU, or quotations. You can see multiple examples on the slides. If the company selling software license, then the entitlement should be the right to run the software. And the definition of the entitlement could be how many users can access the license, and what is the platform this license is running on, and what is the software module this license is about. And if the company sells like a content subscription, then the entitlement should be the right to access corresponding content. The definition of the entitlement can be the details of the content and how many content the user can access per month or per year. And from this example, you can see the entitlement could really be very flexible and complex because the life cycle for each entitlement are also different, and sometimes it's dependent on each other. Then in this case, how to handle this flexibility and the complexity? Here comes with our product, SAP Entitlement Management. SAP Entitlement Management is a standalone SaaS multi-tenant solution. It contains 3 modules. The entitlement repository will store all this entitlement record. User can have a 360-degree view of their entitlement record and the consumption and the usage. And we also have a modeling configuration for the entitlement. Here, user can easily define the flexible definition for each entitlement. And we also provide the lifecycle management to allow you to handle the different life cycle for each entitlement. And on top of that, we have a very powerful event framework, allow you to orchestrate the different process when your entitlement is created or updated. EMS can be operated standalone. There is no technical dependency to other SAP solution, but it does not work alone. You can see from this big picture, the system is a bridge between the sales and the provisioning. So typically there is a process that comes from a sales domain where inside regarding a quote or deal, it's come to a process chain to an order management system. The order management system could be SAP product or non-SAP product, it doesn't matter. And from that order or contract, we get the attributes that is then derived the entitlement linked to that order. So within the order, we have the product you sold and the different line items, and depending on the product and the definition of entitlement you have modeled, you do a mapping to generate the corresponding rights sold by the order as entitlement. And then there is also a downstream process. From there, you want to derive to your you want to deliver to your customer what you sold, then you do a link to your software delivery tool, license key generation tool, provide all the attributes, and automatically customer get access to the license. And during the usage, you update the consumption information and how much user have been licensed on the sold license number. You can simulate customer entitlements at a quotation level to support sales. You can also provide entitlement information to support team and end partners to ensure customer gets the support they purchased to increase customer satisfaction. You can also provide self-service capability so customer can review their own entitlements. It can take in consumption information to ensure you always have a clear picture as entitlement are consumed, and it can also receive status from fulfillment, license key, and the provisioning system, and then kick off revenue recognition process, which cannot be completed until after an order is fulfilled. As I mentioned, our product does not work alone. It connects to the upstream system and the downstream system. So we also have some pre-delivered integration scenarios. For the upstream system, we can integrate with the order management in SAP S/4HANA on-premise, the subscription billing, Commerce Cloud, the BRIM subscription order management, and the S/4HANA Cloud order management. We also integrate with SAP Analytic Cloud for reporting purpose. And for the downstream systems, we can easily integrate with the non-SAP system like the license key management system, the fulfillment solutions like Weibo. And also we can connect to the non-SAP order management system, use APIs. You can see we provide a wide range of public available RESTful APIs. You can check all these API in the SAP API Business Hub. Here you can see a picture of entitlement, the position of our product in the whole SAP Q2C deployment. So after the quotation and order in parallel with the billing, here is the entitlement management. Our entitlement management system can translate the commercial school into the entitlements and manage the entitlements across offerings, business models, and the sales motions in one central place. We can also orchestrate give orchestration between sales and the downstream system to fully automate the XS service transformation and manage life cycle, provide operational support for the entitlements. We can also easily capture the entitlement usage insight to improve the product sales, billing, and operation, and to prevent revenue leakage. Here is a list of the features provided by SAP Entitlement Management. As I mentioned just now, you can easily define the definition or structure of your entitlement in our system, and you can track the life cycle of entitlements throughout the customer life cycle. And EMS also enabled self-service simulations and the support scenarios for customer sales and operation team. You can also manage the interdependencies among entitlement and track entitlement consumption to prevent the revenue leakage. We have the business event and workflow to orchestrate provisioning fulfillment and trigger alert to automate various downstream process. And you can also configure very flexible process and rules to model your upsell, renewal, and upgrade scenarios. We also have the reporting and analytic tools via SAP Analytic Cloud. Of course, a user can do many operations on the entitlement records, like transfer, move, bump, merge, and split of entitlements. Now I'm going to give a live demo using this example. Let's say we have a company, the Great Content Inc. This is an education technology company which sells online digital subscriptions to universities or private institutions and to anyone who is willing to upskill. Let's say there are two kinds of offerings provided by the company. The first offering is undergraduate basics. This offering is subscription for digital content for undergraduate curriculum with option to choose different study streams like arts, commerce, and science. And there is an optional practice test and support. So this subscription is built by number of seats purchased for a subscription period, and there is a flat fee for the optional test. Once customer purchase this offering, their entitlement should be the right to access the digital content. And you can see for different study of lines, the digital content are different. The company provides different courses attached to different study of lines. And then there is an optional right to access the test. The quantity of the test is 30 times the number of seats user subscribed. And there is always a right to support for subscription period. This is the basic undergraduate basic. And for undergraduate advanced, the only difference is that the practice test is entitled by default. So user does not need to purchase the test in addition. Once they purchase this advanced, by default, they will get the practice test, and the number is the same, the 30 times number of seats they subscribed. Now let's switch to our entitlement system to see how we can model this scenario. Here is our EMS system. Before you model the entitlement, make sure the offering and the customer account is already synced into EMS. And we can search for the offering. You see the undergraduate advanced and the undergraduate basic are already synced into EMS. There are two ways to sync offering and customer account into our system. One is use the API we provided to push the data automatically from your master data system into EMS. Another way is you can also manually sync the master data by click this sync button. So once the offering and customer account are already synced into the system, you can start modeling of your entitlement. Here, entitlement model contains the definition of all the different entitlements you want to model for your company. In this example, we see there are three different kinds of entitlements: the subscription, the support, and the test. If we check for subscription first, you need to define the entitlement type, the right and the business category, those characteristics for your entitlement. And this characteristic can also be modeled in this basic configuration. So these are also freely defined by the user. Then you can define the life cycle of your entitlement by assigning a status model to it. In the status model, you can easily find how many status is available for this entitlement and what is the transitions between different status. Both status and the status model are freely defined by the user. After that, you indicate the activation date and the expiration date for your entitlement model. The unit of measure is the number of seats. And also you need to define how the user will use this entitlement. This is modeled in the consumption form. So in the consumption form, you can see the structure of the consumption record. Here you see first, the consumption record contains the number of seats consumed and then which user consumed the seat, the activation date, and the status. And you can see the usage of this entitlement is tracked during the whole period of subscription. After that, you can assign different attributes to your entitlement model to represent different business. In this case, for this subscription entitlement, we have two different customized attributes. The first attribute is the line of study. This is a string attribute, and it will contain value like arts, commerce, or finance. And we also have a attribute course. This courses is a list, and this list, the content of the list depends on the value of line of study. As I showed just now in the slides, for different line of study like arts or commerce, the provided courses are also different. We are going to model it later in the mapping. Okay, this is the modeling for subscription entitlement. Then let's check the modeling for support entitlement. Support entitlement is quite simple. It does not contain additional attributes. And the unit of measure is number of support years. It also have a status model, which is the same as subscription. And then let's see the entitlement model for test. Okay, for test, if we check the status model, we can see the test entitlement have different life cycle. It only contains two status, initial and active. So the life cycle of test is different from subscription. And since customer the user is entitled for a certain number of tests per month, so we can see the usage of test is slightly different from subscription. We will track the usage monthly by the calendar month. Not as in the subscription model, we see the usage is tracked during the whole subscription period. Okay, this is how we model the three entitlements. Then let's go to the mapping part to see how we can link our entitlement to the product sold in the order or contract. In the mapping configuration, the left panel contains all the offerings provided by the company, and the right panel contains how the entitlement could be linked to the offerings. From here, we can see the company provides two product or offerings, the undergraduate advanced and the undergraduate basic, and they are all under the same category, which is subscription. As we already know, for these two products, the only difference is the test entitlement. For subscription and the support, they are almost the same. So we can create the mapping from product to the entitlement at the category level. You can see for this category subscription, it's linked to two entitlements, the support and the subscription. And this mapping modeled on the subscription level will be inherited by all the offerings under this category. It means if you have multiple different offerings with very similar mapping to the entitlement, you can always group them under a same category, and you can just do the mapping between the category and the entitlement. And from here, if we check the mapping between subscription and the offering, we can see the quantity is always from the sales document. In this case, maybe a contract. So the quantity on the contract will be mapped to the quantity on the entitlement. And the validity period is also from the contract. If there is a line of study attribute on the contract, it will be copied into the entitlement. But then the content of the course, this information is not on the contract, but we need to maintain it in this mapping part. You can use this conditional value assignment to see for different value on the contract, then we can have different value for the entitlement. For example, if the line of study is science, you can see the mapped course are physics, chemistry, and math. And if the line of study is commerce, then the entitlement value will be economics, financial accounting, and math. This conditional value assignment is very flexible. You can easily configure different conditions based on the value on your contract and give the and freely give the value for your entitlements. Okay. So this is a mapping for subscription. Okay, sorry. Then if we check the mapping for the support, this is quite simple. We have the quantity from the contract about the quantity for support year and the same validity period. And there is no additional conditional value assignment. Then if we look at each offering under this category, first, they inherit the mapping created at the category level. And then they also have an additional mapping attached to the offering itself. You can see for undergraduate advanced, it always have an entitlement test. And the quantity of the test is 30 times the quantity of seats on the contract. But for undergraduate basic, this is a conditional entitlement. So here you can see a condition for this mapping is only if the contract indicates this subscription include the test, then there is an additional test entitlement. And the quantity is also equal to 30 times the number of seats. Okay, now we have already completed the mapping between the entitlement and the offerings. After that, we need to indicate if the contract come in the system, what is the process to what is the process to apply on the entitlement. For example, if the contract is the initial sales, then we need to create new entitlement in the sales. But if the contract is a renewal, we just need to update the existing entitlement in the system. If the contract is terminated, then we need to terminate the entitlement in our system. How to handle those different scenarios? Entitlement management system provides the generation rules for user to, how to say, model different kind of scenario. For example, you can model your scenario by this direct creation. And you can also model your scenario like you first query existing entitlement in the system. And if the existing entitlement exists, you create a child entitlement attached to the existing entitlement. Or you can create or you can use this generation rule to check existing entitlement in the system and update it by the incoming contract. In our case, if we search for the rule set we have modeled for subscription, you will find two rule sets. One is for the initial purchase, another is for upsell. So for initial purchase, the process is quite simple. You just directly create a new entitlement based on your mapping value. But in case of upsell, you can see this is a little bit complicated. You need to first search for the existing subscription in the system and truncated the existing entitlements, then create a new entitlement with the new contract value. And if we check the process for your for the support, for the initial sale of support, the process is also different from subscription because support is always attached to the subscription entitlement. So in the system, we'll first check if the corresponding subscription exists. If there is no subscription, system will just throw error. But if you can find the subscription entitlement created from the same contract, the system will create the support entitlement attached to the subscription. Yeah. Here you can see how you can model different scenarios in EMS system. Now we have model, we have the model, we have the mapping, and we configured the rule set. I will simulate a contract coming in the system and see how the entitlement could be generated. As I mentioned just now, EMS provide many kinds of APIs. You can find here. And if you click on the ID of the API, it will link you to the API hub. You will see all the documentations. And one of the most important API is the entitlement generation API. For this entitlement generation API, it represents the structure of your sales document from upstream system. It could be contract or order. You can see the structure of this API is have the header and item. And the structure is editable. You can easily add the information from your order or contract into this generation API to contain necessary informations. So in this demo, at item level, you can see we also have the line of study as the information coming from the contract, and include text. This is also some kind of information from the contract. And if you want to implement EMS integrate with any other order management system, you can freely add the information here. Once the API is configured, let's try to, I will use the Postman to simulate a contract or order is coming into EMS. So here you can see the customer just purchased the undergraduate basics, and the line of study is commerce, and it includes the test. The validity period is from January the 1st till the end of the year, so the support is 1 year. The number of seats they are purchased is 20. Let's file the request. You can see the entitlements are generated successfully. Let's switch back to our system and check our entitlement repository. Here you can see all the entitlements stored in the system, and you can easily filter the entitlement by any different attributes. Here you see there are 3 new entitlements generated: the subscription, support, and the test. If you click this button here, you can see these 3 entitlements are linked to each other. The parent entitlement is the subscription, and it has 2 children entitlements, the support and the test. Number of tests per month is 30 times 6. Okay, this is how the entitlements are generated from the upstream system. Now, if we want to trigger the process to downstream system, for example, I want to notify the fulfillment system. Now, I have a new subscription. Please help to provisioning this subscription entitlement. The system need to send out a notification once the entitlement is created. You can use our event framework to trigger this notification. Here you see there is an event which indicate once an entitlement is saved and this entitlement is a subscription entitlement and the operation is created, then the system will send out a notification to the fulfillment system. If we check the event log, we can find the event is triggered for this document. And this document is a subscription entitlement we just created. You can also see the course of the entitlement are economics, financial accounting, math, which is according to the value of line of study. Once this notification is sent out, let's say, okay, the fulfillment entitlement get this information and they provision this subscription entitlement, and then they should notify our entitlement system, okay, this entitlement is provisioned, you can switch the status into active. You can integrate the downstream system with EMS by many different APIs. In this case, we have our update API. For this update API, the downstream system can update the entitlement and say, okay, now this entitlement can switch to active. The entitlement number should be subscription 4561. Okay, now the subscription entitlement is updated successfully. And let's say if you want to also activate the support entitlement, once the subscription entitlement is activated, you can use our event framework, configure an event to activate support. So the condition is once the subscription entitlement is activated, it will look for the child entitlement of this subscription, which is support, and also activate the support entitlement. Since this event is already configured, now if we look at our entitlement, although the downstream system only updates our subscription entitlement, you can see the support entitlement is also activated accordingly. If you check the support entitlement, in the history, you can see it's updated by the event activate support and triggered by another entitlement 4561, which is his parents, this subscription entitlement. So since now the subscription and the support are all activated, we can also ask user maybe also to activate the test entitlement. Sorry. The user can also log into our system and manually activate this test entitlement. Okay, once all the entitlements generated by the contract are activated, the system will send out a revenue recognition notification to the billing system. And this revenue recognition notification can also be configured in our event framework. You can configure an event to check a group of entitlements which under the same contract item line. And if all their status are activate, the system will send out the revenue recognition notification. If you check the event log here, this notification is already sent to the billing system. Yeah, this is how you can orchestrate the downstream process by using the event framework. And also I will demo how you can track the usage of your entitlement and also notify the company if any customer is overused the entitlement. We will still use the subscription and the test as example. If we look at the test entitlement, the quantity of the test is 30 times the seats you subscribed per month. So let's try to create a consumption here. Since it's, yeah, let's just say 100 consumed today, 001. Once the consumption is stored in the system, you can see as the quantity is used per month, you will have this consumption recalculation period, and the current period is February of 2022. And here you will see the consumption in February is 100 tests, so the balance in February is 500. And if there is another consumption maybe happened in January, for example, let's see, another 200 tests are already consumed in January. Here you can see the balance in January is 400. And the balance in February is 500. The usage is tracked per month, not tracked for the whole period of the subscription. And now I want to see if the usage is more than 90% of the entitled quantity, I want to send out a warning message to the company, then they can pay attention to this customer. They are going to overuse their entitlement. You can also use our event framework, configure a consumption event. Here you can see, okay, if this test entitlement is consumed and the remaining balance is less than the 10% of entitled quantity, then I will send out a warning message to the company to pay attention to such customer. We just go to the same test entitlement. Maybe create another consumption in February. Now, okay, now as I create a new usage in February, the remaining balance for February is only 50, which is less than 10% of the entitled quantity 600. Let's check the event log. You can see the warning is triggered. And this warning message will send to the corresponding person to notify, okay, please pay attention to this customer. He's going to overuse the entitlement. Yeah, that's all for this short live demo. I only demoed certain function in our system. We also have many different other features like the schedule, the background job, and some reporting, and also we have some administration tools like migrate entitlement or transport the configuration from one tenant to another. I have no time to demo all these features, but later you could go to our online help portal to check all these functionalities. Let's just check some customer reference here. One customer reference is ServiceNow. ServiceNow is a high-tech company which provides the service management software. And before they adapt our product, they have such challenges to manage their entitlement. All their customer entitlement data are processed in multiple different systems. I think this is also a very typical case for many customers. Nowadays, when they try to handle their entitlements, these records are always stored in many different systems. Some records are even processed manually, so it's very difficult for them to have a big picture of the entitlement overview. And they also have the revenue leakage due to the over entitlement, because everything is just stored in many different places, and it's very difficult to really track the usage of the entitlements. So after adapt our product, now they have a single version of the tools for improved support and compliance and increased customer satisfaction. Every entitlement can be viewed in a single page, and they have a greater ability to optimize the business value of entitlement data for upsell and the renewals. All these different scenarios is also automatic, and they have more accurate and timely provisioning and better understanding of the product usage. They have lower data maintenance cost and reduce the manual process. Also, they can prevent the revenue leakage, as now it's very easy to track the usage of entitlement in EMS. And in this case, our customer have more than 20,000 customer accounts and more than 2,800 products stored in the system. Okay, then rather than this ServiceNow, we also have many other customers like Sedgwick, ARM, Microsoft, and Lenovo. They are also using our product to track manage their entitlements. If you want to get more information, you can go to our product help portal to check some videos about the introduction of our product, and you can check our online help to see more details of our features. And you can also explore our API in the SAP API Hub and see the pre-delivered integration package in the integration package page. And if you have any question, you can also contact me after the presentation. Here is my email. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wu. That was very interesting. So much. It's very flexible and a lot of detail, which is something that a lot of customers are looking for. So now we're going to jump to the last topic before we wrap up, and that is subscription billing. And I believe Suito is going to provide an overview for us. Thank you.
Yes. Yep. Thanks. And thanks, Wu. It was a very, very good presentations. I noticed some improvement in entitlement management as well, such as like the consumptions. I used to do Postman to create the consumptions, but now you can actually directly create the consumptions in entitlement management. So it's a great improvement. So I'm going to cover the last part, which is SAP subscription billing. So I'm going to make it quick and easy to digest. So I also have a demo as well, but not going to be as extensive as how Milan and Ms. Wu share actually presented. So I'm just going to keep it simple, and like. All right, and post your questions as well. So I won't be able to see your questions, but I hope that my colleagues Kiran, Richards, and the rest can actually help and jump in and answer the questions. All right, so what is subscription billing, right? So in comparisons to what Richard mentions earlier about within the BRIM solutions scope, we actually have something called convergence charging. So if it is, you want to call it apple to apple comparisons, even though it's not really apple to apple comparisons. So convergent charging is similar to subscription billing. It's a pricing engine, right? So and I indicated right in front of you in the orange like glaring for you to show that SAP subscription billing support customers in their subscription and solution business, right? So I think that has to be very clear that that subscription billing can really support the subscriptions and solution business, okay? And it really support from the definitions of product and rates to the subscriptions lifecycle management to the subscription billing, okay? So it covers real usage data in a pay-per-use price model as well. And I'll discuss that in details, what I mean by that. Okay, so just to come back, what is SAP subscription billing, right? So it's built on public cloud. In fact, it's natively built on our BTP platform, right? So you can call it like multi-tenant software as a service because it contains lots of microservices that you can actually connect to. In fact, actually, one of the component of the microservices actually, connect nicely and beautifully, to borrow the word from Milan, is that it can connect beautifully to entitlement management, right? So, and also, in the subsequent slide later on, I will show you how subscription billing can also connect with CPQ as well, right? So, and stay excited. Hopefully, you have gotten your drink and got your mind juggling exercise, everything to stay awake for this last sessions. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a multi-tenant software as a service, and it contains lots of microservices. It's also agile, and it's very important for this because we have customers that gone live in less than 6 weeks. It's really lightning fast, provisioning, and also, it can be provisioned within a few hours and set up within a few days. So depending on, the integrations, obviously, right? So, but then, it's really, agile solutions. It's constantly innovating, right? Because, every 2 weeks or so, you will see, some innovation being put in place in the solutions, right? So, and, this solutions product owner actually does a lot of co-innovations with the customers as well to be able to really innovate these solutions to meet the customer's requirements, right? So, and it has extensibility and scalability in terms of integrating with with the solutions out there, especially like S/4HANA Public Cloud, and hopefully at the end of the the presentation, I'll be able to show you the integrations that we have with Solution Order, which is actually part of the S/4HANA Cloud, right? So stay tuned. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So what is subscription billing in terms of the enabling the end-to-end quote to cash process, right? So you see that it actually allows you to connect to SAP CPQ from the Sales Cloud point of view, as what Milan mentions, right? So, and it also connects with SAP entitlement management in terms of capturing the subscriptions, right? It also allows you to connect with SAP conversion mediations, right? In terms of monetizing the usage data as well, right? So an example that Wu actually mentions earlier will be that the data will come from, the number of people that actually are consuming that, the classes, the undergrad classes. So that information can come, from conversion mediations from a different external education systems, to fit into entitlement management and also to fit into subscription billing for the billing purposes. Okay, so, and you can see that the 4 boxes within the subscription billing, you'll be able to see that there are 4 central processes within subscription billing. One being the business model designing, right? So you can design and maintain your subscription product and service offering, including the monetizations and pricing attributes, right? So you can actually do all that pricing algorithms, setting up the model in there as well. And you can also do a subscription capture. The next box is that you can sell more by dynamically bundling product and services for your customers, right? So in my demo, actually, you'll be able to see that we are doing a cloud backup and they are recurring charges. There's a one-time charges. There's also usage charges. So, so we'll be able to show that. There's also a subscription management, right? You can manage all the subscriptions and monitor and adjust all the life cycle within the subscription management itself, the subscriptions billing itself. Okay, so just like I mentioned earlier, subscription billing, it's actually similar to conversion charging. Okay, so it allows you to do all the pricing rating of the the usage that comes in from a different source system, just I mentioned in the slide. Okay. So, and it after the informations have been rated, right, then you'll be able to use subscription billing to pass that information into our S/4HANA conversion invoicing and FICA cloud, right? That's one possibility, but we also have extensive integration possibility with S/4HANA on-premise sales and distributions. We also connect with S/4HANA Cloud Sales Billing as well. And like I mentioned, it actually connects with Cloud Contract Accounting Invoicing, which is, like I mentioned, is a conversion invoicing and FICA Cloud. And also connects with SAP by Design as well. So if you have customers that are running on by design and they're looking for, lightweight subscription billing type of solutions, you can definitely introduce subscription billing to help them, right? So I'm just gonna move on. I just want to describe, what are the subscription features within subscription billing, right? So, and you see that we have a flexible master data within our subscription billing solutions, and you can, do a renewal in terms as well within the subscription billing. You can also do a cancellations at any time, right? And you can also, have a different type of cancellation billing cycle as well. And this is like something that we actually add in, like money back guarantee, which is actually the terms that you can actually put in your solution as well. This is to allow your customers to be able to put in that guarantee when they're selling their subscription service to the customers, right? So that solution is actually very flexible. So going on the what is the rating and billing capabilities of subscription billing, you see that we have a flexible billing cycles. You can do a yearly, half yearly, quarterly, and monthly as well. So it depends on the customer requirements. You'll be able to choose that billing cycles. You can also have adjustment period as well, right? So you can have a billing overview in real time. In fact, you can actually do a manual closing and then generate the billing documents as well. So, and hopefully I can show that within a demo. You can have a different, pricing scheme, right? You can have usage, by tier, block, and volume pricing. You can have a recurring fees and also a one-time fee as well. And you have allowances. What I meant by allowances is that you can actually say, for example, customers would like to have a subscription service to like a Netflix type of service, right? So they can download a number of movies, and within that monthly subscription fee that they're paying, they're entitled to a 10 download before they will be charged for that that monthly subscription fee, right? So like you subscribe to 20, but you actually get 10, so that means you actually get 30 in total, right? So allowance is like the amount that you get for free before your subscription fee actually start kicking in. All right. So, and then like I mentioned, you also have a lot of integrations to the invoicing system as well. So you can actually use our conversion mediation. So also use the iFlows available through our SAP integration tool, right? The CPI tool. Okay, so the pricing model, like I mentioned, there's a one-time fee you can actually use available. You can set it up, like you can see from the screen, as a flat recurring fees as well. Usage fees, percentage of discount. There's also a lookup table as well. And best is that it actually has a proration and refunds, right? So when you are running the monthly recurring fee, the system automatically calculate what is the prorations when you start your billing cycle in the middle of the month, right? So it's something that is built in to be able to calculate that. Okay. And I just want to put it out there where we actually have the standard integrations, right, with SAP S/4HANA Cloud Solution Order, right, which is something that I will show later on in the demo. You also have this integration, very tight integrations to to contract accounting and invoicing. So I just want to put it out there for our region, APJ regions. There are not that many countries yet that have the localizations for S/4HANA Cloud for contract accounting and invoicing. So I would, I would invite you to just join our community.sap.com, search for BRIM, and then find your answers of like when S/4HANA Cloud for contract accounting invoicing will be localized for your country, so you get all the information there. Okay, so and so on. You see that we also have integrations with S/4HANA Cloud Sales Billing, which is SD versions of S/4HANA Cloud, and also on-premise SD as well, right? So and so on. We have integrations to Commerce Cloud, CPQ, Entitlement Management, and also digital payment. By the way, so if you have a subscription billing solutions and and the customers would like to make a payment directly to their to the charges, you can connect with SAP digital payment solution that we have, right? So it's it's an add-on, okay, but it's there's a tight integrations to that solutions, okay. And if you are wondering what are the APIs available, go check it out at SAP API Business Hub. And just search for subscription billing. There are tons of APIs available in there. Okay. All right. So just want to be able to encapsulate how subscriptions billing can connect with S/4HANA Cloud. It really has a build for that for S/4HANA Cloud. And as you can see here, within our S/4HANA Cloud, with the extensions, you'll be able to see that the life cycles of having configure price and quote, right, which is actually part of the standard integrations on the SAP roadmap. I put it out there on the S3. But it also has the solution order management, which is actually a solution within the S/4HANA Cloud that is, and I would say, the pillar that will make it everything work within S/4HANA Cloud itself. And within the S/4HANA solution order, it allows you to combine sales items, service contract items, service order items, project item even, and subscription billing for sure in there. And you'll be able to combine that and generate all the relevant documents within one single place, right? So and then at the end you'll be able to look at the margin analysis and revenue recognitions within that S/4HANA Cloud itself. And at the end, you'll be able to get the analytics and reporting within the solution itself. So that's the power of our S/4HANA Cloud now, with the tight integrations with the subscription billing. Okay. So just want to give another perspective on how that works in terms of how solution orders connect with the rest of the the services or sales order informations within SAP S/4HANA Cloud. Is that you see that whatever that Milan discussed about SAP CPQ, and he mentioned about the integrations as well. The integrations is either through the solution code quotations in the on-prem, but in the S/4HANA Cloud, we call it solution order. I just want to make sure that you know the difference. That solution order is what we call that in S/4HANA Cloud, and solution, and solution quotations, what we call it in on-prem, right? Okay, so and then there's a API layer that allows our SAP CPQ and SAP Commerce and also in the external quotation solutions to connect with the solution order. Right? When the quotations is done, then you'll be able to see that quotations realizing as a sales item maybe, or service order items, right? So you'll see that within this solution order, you can capture so many of these items as well, right? Project item is actually supposed to be here. So, and after the the order is captured or service order is captured, you'll be able to see that each of this will generate a contract or generate the relevant documents. So hopefully I'll show that in the demo, and you'll be able to see that subsequently there is visual that shows you end-to-end process of like from the creations of solution order all the way to like the creation of the journal entries and the postings in your GL, right? And but in my demo, I only stop at the creations of the billing documents from the subscription order. And I invite you to really ask the questions to me later on, because I'm based in Singapore. I'm available if you have any questions on how to use solution order in the future. Okay, so is there any questions so far? Okay, all right. So and I want to show you how that solutions order actually connects with the SAP subscription billing. Is that it actually bring that informations that we have from subscription billing to represent in solution order. So like, for example, you'll be able to see later on the subscription parameter, right? Like, in subscription billing, if you are doing, a recurring, fee based on a number of, usage, a number of users, sorry, not usage. So that parameter is actually, be able to be displayed in solution order. And you can also run the simulations as well to show like how that subscription charges will change if you actually enter different subscription parameters. Okay, so stay tuned on that. Okay, I'm going to go show that. Okay, so just want to highlight these key capabilities within subscription billing before I go into my demo. So you see that within subscription billing, we can do a product modeling. We can create and maintain digital product in there, and you can also sync that into our SAP S/4HANA Cloud in terms of the master data as well. Okay, you can also capture, maintain rates within subscription billing. Okay, you can do a subscription lifecycle management right within there. You can, like I mentioned, you can do cancellation and withdrawal, right? So and also the integrations, there's out of box integrations is available, right? And in terms of the rating, you see that there's a rate plan templates and also a versioning, like changes that you have on different rate plan is actually exposed within the subscription billing. You'll be able to track that. There's also a charges and credits available, right? So the credits, either is a credit memos or credits in in the representations of allowance, right? So depending on how you set it up. Okay, and there's also a enhanced price calculations, right, which actually has been launched, PCS, pricing calculations, system, which actually allows you to do a much more complex calculations for your usage-based calculation charges. So in my demo, it's just going to be a simple charges. So we'll see that later on. Okay. And within this billing, you'll also be able to see that there's a different type of subscription. There's a trial, there's a commercial as well, and you'll be able to create the different segments of of the bill, like maybe the different subscription type for the different market segments, right? And you can also do a billing in advance or in arrears, right? So that information is available, so you can actually check out the solution in details later on, right? Okay, so. And just in case your customer may be asking, like, where's the data centers for the subscription billing? So far, we have 2 data centers. I know that there's one coming up in APJ, but it's not not yet available, so I won't expose that. And also the languages. Right, so the languages are available as well, and you can also add upon requests. As I mentioned, that subscription billing is constantly innovating, so we are willing to work with customers out there to be able to use subscription billing as part of their billing engine if they're gonna want to use S/4HANA public cloud in the futures. Okay. All right, so I'll invite you to go into our SAP Roadmap Explorer just to check what is available coming up, because we are innovating almost every 2 weeks. There's always a new features coming up every month. So you may be wondering what's out there. And even the API as well is always, changing in terms of like, the additions or the enhancements to the current API. So I welcome you to check it out. The SAP API Business Hub and SAP Roadmap Explorers. Okay, so let me go into my short demo. Okay, so let me see. Okay, can everybody see my screen on the system demo? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So I'm actually logged in as a solution order specialist, and what you see on the screen right now is actually a profile for a solution order specialist who needs to use the solution order to be able to generate relevant documents for the work, right? So, and different tabs are available, right, based on your profile. So you see here, I'm showing you like what is available, as a solution order specialist. You'll be able to see all the subscription billing accounting. You'll be able to run all that within the system. So when I click on manage solution order, you see all the available existing solution orders, and I click on one of them, and I can actually create a copy instead of creating a new one from scratch. So I'm showing here like now I have an existing one that have a server, cloud backup, and server support maintenance, which actually you see that the item category has a different item category, right? So I'll go into cloud backup. So within this cloud backup, like I mentioned, is a subscription billing items, and it has a tight integrations to the subscription billing where you can see that the one-time charge and the recurring charge is actually coming directly from subscription billing. Right, so this information is actually being pulled directly from subscription billing, and I can see here the parameter is number of seats. I can see that I can change from 1,000 to 200 to 500, and I change it to 250, and I run simulations. I can see the numbers right away. Right, so and within the pricing parameters, you can see that there is also a different values, right, which is also coming from subscription billing, right? So this parameters is not built in SAP S/4HANA solution order, but it's actually being pulled, directly from subscription billing based on the the billing, the billing model that we have designed for the cloud backup, right? Because cloud backup is the product, and the product actually has the pricing model tied to it, right? So by choosing that cloud backup model, it directly connects to subscription billing because you choose subscription billing items, right? And then it pulls all the relevant information that allows you to create the solution order itself, right? In this particular demo, what I'm doing is that either I can use a default values coming from the subscription billing, or I can actually choose to enter a manual value, right? Instead of 15, I choose 10, right? So, and I, and I need to know what is the impact if I choose 10, right? So what I do is I, choose their values, and then I run the simulation again. So when I run simulation, you see that the numbers will be changed, right? So that is the power of our S/4HANA solution order. And like I did it again with $20, you can see the value change again. So and I can go back to using a default value, and then and then the number will again change accordingly, right? So here, what I'm showing you is that there's a usage-based charges as well, right? You see here there is actually a price per block, and the reason why I use that because within the cloud backup, there's three components of the charges: one-time charge, the monthly recurring charge, and also the usage charge as well, then based on the number of traffic that comes into this cloud backup. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back. So now I'm in the solution order, right? So I'm gonna show you that there is a service contract item, right, which is service support and maintenance. I click on that just to show you that it also pulls from a service contract as well. So there's a different billing plans available, which is something you can choose based on different settlement periods. You can use monthly, and automatically it divides the amount 1,002 into 12 different monthly settlements. I can also choose to change the quantity as well and run through the different and settlement periods quarterly, and then right away it actually calculates the billing value on the quarterly basis, right? And what it will do is that when I actually release all these items, and I save it first, when I release all these values, what the solution order is doing is that now I'm going to create a relevant documents, right? So here I'm going to the transaction history, right? So within this transaction histories, right now you see nothing because I just save it. And so when I click refresh, you'll be able to see all the relevant documents are created in in an instance, right? So you see, so that within when I refresh that, you see that the service contract, which is actually based on the title that I created, private contract solution offering, right? So there's a sales order, which is basically hardware items that I'm delivering as part of this private cloud solution offering, right? And then the subscription. You see that we actually automatically create that relevant subscription subscriptions bill within subscription billing itself. So within the solution order, it actually distribute the orders automatically and generate the relevant order, you call it, or contract, you want to call it. So then you can just use solution order as a one-stop solutions to be able to track all the changes you need. And I'll show you the view progress later on as well to see the end-to-end visualizations of the process. Okay, so you see that now that I'm going through this transactions histories, I click on the view progress. Okay, so within this view progress, you'll be able to see that that this informations are now being represented is visual, right? You see that right now I created a solution order, with all the contracts that are relevant. Okay, and I think my screen is a bit hang. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay. All right. So now that I'm showing the progress. Now I want to proceed with the next step of going to subscription billing, right? So now I want to show you how the subscription billing solution looks like. So within the subscription billing solution, you see that I directly go into the solution. I see that this subscription billing SB538 is created with the users 250 were entered in the solution order. And you see that there is actually a recurring charge component, which is 3,750, right? And there's also one time, and there's also a usage base as well. So there are three different components of charges available. Okay, and sometimes you'll be wondering, okay, how do I, if it is a usage base, how do I track the usage, right? So, And you see that later on, I'll go into technical resources, right? Technical resources is like your, if you drive a car, there's a VIN number, right? You know, a vehicle identification number. So, you know, by using the technical resource, right? So you can attach this technical resource into that relevant product where you want to track the usage. You'll be able to see that usage is being posted into subscription billing on that particular subscription SB538. Okay, so now that I'm done showing you the, you know, that the overall view of SB538, I want to show you what are the bills within this SB538, right? So I can either search by customers or I can search by the subscription ID. Okay, so I search by, you know, by choose the ID SB538. Okay, so and when I click on go, I'll be able to see all the relevant bills that are connected to, you know, SB538, right? You see that there are different billing status, right? So now it's 2 days until close, depending on when is your billing date. And then there's one is the next billing date is March 3 because it's based on usage, right? So when I click on next, you see that when I go into the recurring, right? So when I go into recurring, when I click on that, you'll be able to see that this is basically for the recurring, the amount that is based on 250 seats, and the price per unit is 15. And because the rating period is from 18 to 28, that's why you see that the value is actually being prorated, right? Just want to show you that here. Right, so you see that the amount is 1473.21 is actually because there is a proration that took place automatically from the system, right, based on a 250 you know, number of seats, right? Okay. All right, so then I go on to the bills that is currently showing 0. Okay. Right now, the bill is open. I haven't closed it yet. So I'll show you that the one that is based on the usage, I'm going to click on that. So see right now, there is no usage. So I'm actually going to create a usage, right? So, and how I create usage, just like I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to get that technical resource ID, right? Because I want to use that particular ID that refers to this, you know, this particular SB, the subscription bill, SB538. And I'm gonna create a usage out of that transactions of that you know, of that particular subscriptions, right? So I, you know, basically now looking for that technical resource ID. So I'm gonna, you know, copy that subscription. Okay, so you know, the technical resource ID within the subscription. And when I do that, I go into the usage. When I go into usage, I'm going to just choose the technical resource type ID, put in my technical resource type, and then enter the quantity, the usage, how much that I'm just going to put in 1000 gigabyte. I save that, and right away create that, the usage. You see that is tied to that subscription ID SB538. Right now, I go to the bills. If I go to bills, you know, I just search by my subscription ID. You'll be able to see now the bills, the amount have changed, especially for the usage component, right? You see that there's 2,000 and 1,583 now, right? So what I'm going to do next is just to show you, like, you know, within that bill itself, you'll see that now the usage is you know, is now showing 1,000, right, with the price per block of $2, right? So I'm going to close this bill, right, because I want to be able to show you that when I close this bill, manually close this bill, it will automatically transfer the billing document into the next step, right? So also I'm going to close the other bill, the recurring fee with the one-time charge there. Okay, so and when I go back to the main screen, you'll be able to see that you know, right now when I click go, it's one transferred. So usually take about, like, you know, less than 5 minutes to do that. So you see how fast is that? It actually show you that it's transferred. Now I go back to the solution order. right? So I show you the view progress, and within the view progress, you see that it actually shows you that it created the billing document request, right? So we created a solution order, and it generated a view, and it came up with the immediate follow-up transactions, which we have a sales order items, right? And we have a service contract and a subscription, right? What we did earlier was just to show you the completions of the subscription, right? So there's components of the recurring that is now generated, the billing document requests, right? And then there's also a usage component as well. So because I don't have a lot of time, that's why I only recorded this part. But to let you know what's happening next is that I would then go into service contract, and somebody needs to close that service contract as well, and it would generate, because I choose a quarterly settlement period, it will generate 4 different quarterly statements, right? And because of that, it will have 4 different billing document requests related to service contracts. And then when I deliver the sales order item, which is a hardware item related to the cloud backup, it will also generate the delivery receipt as well, and the invoicing will happen. And then if I proceed with doing all the billing and invoicing, right, you can do that in SD billing, or you can do it in the S/4HANA Cloud contract accounting. You can actually generate the relevant invoicing document as well. And then from the invoicing document, you'll be able to see the posting of the journal entries. So I wanted to show all that because it took about 1 hour, about 45 minutes to do all that. And Richard will kill me if I do all that end-to-end demo. All right, so my presentations actually, ends here, where I show you that there is actually a very tight integrations of S/4HANA Cloud, especially in the solution orders with subscription billing. And solution order also has a tight integrations with our CPQ as well through API layer, as I mentioned in my slides, right? And entitlement management, presented by Ms. Wu here, is that it connects to subscription billing, right? So when all that undergrad classes is taken and the entitlement is consumed, and then that the subscription is actually being used properly. But if the entitlement exceeds the number of what is available within the entire management, it will then inform the subscription billing that there is a need for upsell to the next entitlements as well. All right, so that's how the solution connects together in a very beautiful way. Okay, so now I pass it back to Richard to conclude.
Thank you, Sweeto. That was a very, very nice presentation and demo. So we have 5 minutes left. I know that Kieran's been busy answering questions. Again, if there's any other questions, you can either contact us directly or send me an email or send Jessica or Sweeto, and we can try to get back to you. Let me just kind of share a couple things before we conclude today. Again, thank you for hanging tight with us. I know it's been a very long 3-hour presentation, and if Sweeto didn't talk about a break, we would have just kept on going. Yeah, I wanted to thank Milan and Wuxie and Sweeto. A great presentation and demo. I mean, there's a lot, lots of innovation. We're constantly improving. We're focused on these cloud products, which is key for us. I just want to remind everyone there is a roadmap, especially for BRIM, but there's also a roadmap for the other products. We can, I'll make sure that the links are available when we share these presentations. Okay, interesting. There's also a BRIM training. I know that we're doing a BRIM training for you folks, but then there's a official, and it's about a month. If you look at all the different components, there's a link here. There's actually a BRIM certification on 1909, but I get it that we're, this, we try to keep refreshing this, but it just takes a lot of effort to put this certification together. So if this is something that you're interested in pursuing or basically advancing your career, it's I heard it wasn't that easy. It's a tough certification. But again, this is something that if you're, if you are interested in, there's a link here for it. We talked about the community. There's a link for the BRIM community. I advise that if you're the partners that's currently on the call, if you're not part of Partner Edge, please look into joining because all of this content will be on the Partner Edge, and you have to be part of Partner Edge in order to consume or access the content. So that's something that you might want to consider. But we do have a BRIM community, and it provides a lot of different updates and content for your partners. So this is again, there's a link, and we will share all the PowerPoints with you. Let's see, we talked about deployment options. I think that's it. So again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the other speakers, Milan, Wuxia, and Suito. I want to thank Karen, Jessica, and everybody helping putting this together. It's a big turnout. Again, if there's any other questions, we have a few minutes left. Or is there any questions, comments, concerns that we should know about? Go ahead, please.
Richard, I just want to mention that the next enablement session is going to be at 4 o'clock today for convergent charging.
Okay, I don't know what time it is there because right now it's about it's 9 p.m. So I have no idea what time zone that is.
Time.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
In 3 hours.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so okay, everybody. I know that you guys have to do your regular jobs, and thank you for attending and helping support this product. We rely on you to help SAP, and hopefully this is something that you're interested in, that we provide some content. So,
quick question from my side in regards to organization, if I may. Yeah, so
sure.
Keeping in mind that we are from Europe, America, APJ, and so on. Quick question: whether we will receive all the recording after the session and also the presentations?
Yes, the presentation and recording will be available on this platform on Partner Edge. You can consume it anytime. Yeah. So after this, right? You have to be part of Partner Edge. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yes. So the materials will be actually sent to all of you via email. So it will be an automated email once it's actually uploaded. So it will take maybe like two working days around there.
Right, but you have to be part of Partner Edge. Is that correct, Jessica? You can't just.
Yes. So
if you're not part of Partner Edge, you cannot consume this.
So if they're able to register for this session, they probably have access to the Partner Edge.
Absolutely,
okay. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Any other questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the next session? Like, what is going to be included? Is it just going to be like demos like this, or are you gonna deep dive into configuration?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a deep. I believe the next session is charging. Is that correct?
Convergent charging.
Yes.
Yeah. So just want to give you.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So just want to give you a flavor because I know the presenter. His name is Ruslan, based in Germany. So he's one of the best, convergent charging pre-sales that I know. So he will be showing a bit of a demo. In fact, he's gonna start from scratch to show you how how you can set up a convergent charging. So if you really have time this afternoon, I really encourage you to attend it. You're going to learn a lot. It's just going to be a 3-hour session purely on convergent charging.
Right, and if it doesn't fit your schedule, I know everyone has a daytime job. It's going to be recorded. It's going to be available on Partner Edge. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Questions in the chat actually that we haven't answered.
Go ahead, Kieran.
I think there's one really question on comparison of or positioning of subscription billing alongside BRIM. You want to take that, Richard? Oh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to reword.
I don't know if we have the time to get into that now, but.
So the question is, can you? Okay, in terms of technical aspect of it, can subscription billing be part of a complete BRIM environment? The answer has got to be yes, because it's an open technology. You can connect to either SAP or non-SAP. The question is, do you need that if you have conversion charging? Or would you, or would you consider just having subscription billing with convergent invoicing on-prem and FICA on-prem or PCE? But that combination is also possible. I can't recall if we got that integration already available for PCE. I know that it's available for the cloud version. But it wouldn't stop. I mean, let's say, for example, if you were a telco and you're running a complete end-to-end BRIM solution, and you don't want to change or disrupt the charging piece because it's doing a lot of telephony type of rating and charging. And if you want to just launch a new business for just data, would you use subscription billing? Is it possible? Yes, it's always possible. Hopefully that answered the question. I'm not sure if I can.
I guess the question more broader. I think maybe
Okay.
it's when how do we position subscription, and I guess it's just on the fact that subscription billing is more a lightweight solution for you can implement things very quickly and in a matter of weeks. We've seen, I think the fastest implementation I've seen was 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A customer went live, compared to BRIM, which takes 6-7 months minimum or more. But then it all comes down to the complexity of the requirements. If you want to have some simple subscription capability, you can do it with subscription billing. If you really have more complex requirements, and if you think about some of the telco type of requirements for prepaid, for example, real-time balance management and so on, then certainly the full BRIM solution would be more appropriate. So I guess it's a balance. It's not an easy question to answer, and we would need to spend the whole section on that alone.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you have to stay away from just trying to prescribe a tool set without understanding the requirements. A lot of time in the US, we start with the requirements of a customer, and in our mind, we're thinking, okay, this could be a subscription billing opportunity. But as the customers start describing detailed requirements, especially in phase 3, it's not so much phase 1. Yes, we want to launch something very simple. But by the time they talk about phase 3, which is maybe in 1 year, they want to get into some complexity that subscription billing, maybe even the roadmap, would not accommodate. Then all of a sudden, now we're talking about conversion charging. Some of the BRIM implementation, if you think about the end-to-end, if you had to, I guess, compare apples to apples, you have to look at, okay, how long would it take to implement convergent charging, and how long would it take to implement subscription billing? Because if you want to compare BRIM with subscription billing, then you have to say, okay, well, how long would it take to implement sales billing with subscription billing? Sorry, I'm getting on. Okay, subscription billing, sales billing, or SD with BRIM end-to-end. That would be a better comparison, if that makes any sense. Any other questions, or did I just confuse everyone? Again, really focus on the requirements, and if you can get that nailed down, then it'll be very clear if it's subscription billing or conversion charging for BRIM.
Yep.
And I guess we can close. Any other questions? Kieran, did I just want to make sure that we answer the question? If not, please chime in.
I think we're fine. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. That's good.
All right.
I think have I missed anything else? I think we've addressed everything, maybe.
Again, please feel free. You have my contact here. Just send me a question. If we can't answer, we'll just find the resources, whether solution management or product management, to provide an answer. So with that, thank you, everybody. Have a great week. And thank you for staying with us. And again, there's going to be other topics on BRIM that's coming up. Have a great week. Thank you very much.